What's happening, party people? So, I was having a discussion with my cousin Warren about capitalism and corporatism, and he's of the opinion, he's a little bit of a fatalist and also a little bit of a troll, and so I think he was trolling me, most likely. I know your games, Warren. But he was claiming that capitalism inevitably devolves into corporatism because of horizontal integration and all kinds of other, economic theory based on the current system, the previous system, and the way things have operated for the last, I don't know, couple hundred years. I don't think it has to be that way. In fact, I think that most corporatism is a result of government corruption and the government meddling with markets and making competition impossible by smaller, more robust players, more decentralized players, if you will. But I was thinking about the idea that, if we're going to transition away from government fiat, which I certainly hope we are, and we're going to transition onto some kind of blockchain solution. Could be Bitcoin, could be another blockchain solution. But I thought, why not address some of the current issues we have with market forces? And I started thinking about a lot of aspects of the current market. Right now, you can go to any supermarket or grocery store or 7-Eleven, and here in Hawaii, you can get a banana for 69 cents. Now, which is, not an unreasonable price for a banana. Banana's a healthy snack. It's good for you. And 69 cents isn't a lot of money. So I'm not upset about the cost of a banana. However, where did this banana come from? Is it imported from Ecuador? Is it a local banana? How much did the transportation cost for that banana? Was any part of the banana growing, transportation, delivery, marketing, was any of it government subsidized? What's the actual cost of the banana? Because if the store is selling it at a profit, which we know the store is, then we have to assume the actual price of the banana is probably lower than 69 cents. And I don't just mean bananas. I mean, that's just an example that I'm using. But take any product, good or service. There's almost always a cost associated with it that by and large has nothing to do with the actual cost of the product, good or service. There's a lot of goods or services where the markup is like 200-300%, and that's normal. And I'm not talking about some kind of draconian socialism or some kind of fascism. I'm not talking about a group or a government arbitrarily controlling the price of a good or service. But I am talking about absolute and complete transparency on the blockchain. And that would pretty radically alter the way that we would be shopping for things, the way we would be paying for things. Think about the idea that, imagine if at one store near you, they were getting bananas for 50 cents and charging 69 cents. But there was another store near you that was getting bananas for 35 cents and charging 69 cents. Now, if they're both charging the same price, it might not matter to you that much. But my guess is that one of them would charge more or less based on how much they were paying for the banana, in which case you could opt to go to the store that was cheaper. And if all of it was transparent on the blockchain, which remember is publicly accessible by all parties, then you would know how much the banana actually costs delivered to the store. And you would know how much of a markup you're paying. And then that would definitely incentivize the store to charge a more specific, accurate markup. So, let's assume they just did 10% all the time on everything. Then, the banana would now be 55 cents if they were getting the banana for 50 cents. But here's where it gets even crazier. Imagine if one of the stores is getting the bananas cheaper and now everybody has agreed, or not agreed, but been forced by competition to compete by adding what's, a standard markup. Most of the stores in your area are probably not going to charge 10 or 20% markup for a good or service if that's on the blockchain and everybody's able to see it. If all the other stores in the area are charging 5% for the markup, then they're going to be motivated to keep in line with that. So now you've got a situation where your local stores or transport services or, Amazon or decentralized Amazon competitors, hopefully, I'm kind of thinking farther along on this project than I'm able. This is just my first initial thoughts on it anyway. They're going to be incentivized to give you a more fair deal, because if they're not giving you a fair deal, you're going to know right away. So there's no way that a store is going to be able to mark up a product 50 or 100%, because then everybody would know. It'd be on the blockchain. It would be visible to all parties. And they would probably patronize a different store in the area that's pricing things more fairly. More low is my guess. Everybody always wants to save money and spend the least that they can on a good or service. But here's where it gets really interesting. Imagine one of the stores has their own banana tree. So for them, the actual cost of the banana is incredibly low, because they're not having the bananas shipped from Ecuador. They're not having to ship the bananas from a banana farm here in Hawaii. They are actually getting the bananas on site. Now, they still got to take care of the banana tree, own the property. I mean, there's still costs associated with the banana. It's not a free banana. But that's going to be a much cheaper banana than somebody importing them from Ecuador, and all of those associated costs. And if they're being kind of forced to keep the markup to a more reasonable rate by being publicly displayed on the blockchain, you're going to have a lower priced banana. Probably a much lower priced banana. Now, obviously, bananas aren't that exciting, but that's just one example. Zoom out a little bit and give yourself that same example with a car, $20,000 car, right? Imagine that we know what the markup is on every piece that went into that car. We know what the markup is on the overall car. We know what the import cost is of the car. We know all of the costs associated with the car. That's going to dramatically lower the price of cars very quickly. And of course, if the car production, car maintenance, everything is on a publicly visible blockchain, that's going to make things much easier for selling, buying cars, used cars. That's going to help everybody really ascertain the value of the car in a much more accurate way than we can at the moment. So, I don't know, something about having a publicly accessible blockchain and applying that to the entire economy could dramatically lower costs for everything, for all goods and services. Tim's computer maintenance. Tim's the guy who comes to your house and fixes your computer. If you know what he costs and how long he takes to fix a computer versus his competitors and what they cost, my guess is most people are going to go with the lowest cost. Maybe some people like Tim a little better than Jim or whatever, and they might hire Tim at the higher cost, or maybe give him a tip or a bonus. I mean, this is still a free market, but it's just a free market where there's complete and total transparency. And that transparency is going to force the costs down of almost everything. Because right now the prices are very totally arbitrarily set by managers at the store, managers at the warehouse, managers at the shipping port. All of these costs are being set, and then the extra profit that's being made on all these products and services is going into other unnecessary things like marketing and salespeople and venues for selling, such as stores. All of these things could be outdated and outmoded. Everything could be direct to consumer instantly. You wouldn't have to have stores anymore. You wouldn't have to have salespeople. You wouldn't have to have marketing. There'd be no point in marketing if everything that you sell, your entire inventory is already on the blockchain listed, and everybody in your area can find it. Now, some of the other positives of this new economic system that I'm describing, that's only possible now because of the invention of Bitcoin, would be that things close to you are going to be cheaper. So you're talking about buy local, shop local, support local. It's going to be built in, because to get the cheapest thing, you're going to be buying local, shopping local, because it's going to be cheaper in every case. And that is where we could really start to improve the economy and improve the world for everybody automatically. And again, this isn't fascism or socialism. This isn't a group of people or a government deciding any of these things. These are just things that are automatically, transparently available on the blockchain to everybody. That could fix everything.